This happy woman holds her grandson in her lap, and the mother says that this is the only way for him to sleep. In the middle of all this comes Paul, the baby's father. The grandmother says he must be dying to miss the baby and asks if he does not want to hold it. Paul denies and says it is better not because he is sweaty from work and can pass some bacteria to him. Then the grandmother asks how he is and says he is her favorite son-in-law. She then says goodbye and says she will pass again tomorrow. Also said she is very happy for the marriage of the two. When the grandmother leaves, the husband changes his attitude and asks her if it will be like that every day, if he will have to keep putting up with that old woman in his house. The woman replies saying that she is his mother and that she can't do anything about it. He then says that he can only stand her because she is the one who pays half of the household bills, and that they can only afford all this because of her. Stressed out, he says that he already has to put up with her and that now he has to look at her ugly face, and that she was stinking of milk. She tells him not to say this, and if he continues to speak in this tone he will wake up the child, even though he continues to say that after the boy was born she forgot about him, and that she only thinks about him. He is disgusted and says that she is fat and can barely look at her, and says that he will look for another woman on the street, because she looks horrible. Then the grandmother, who was already in the elevator, says that she forgot the key and goes back to her daughter's house, and catches her husband swearing and insulting her, saying that the woman looked horrible and her hair was awful. The grandmother then films the whole situation and leaves the house, pressing the doorbell as if she hadn't heard anything. The man answers and she says that she forgot her key and goes in again. When she finds her daughter she says that she forgot to tell her about a store that was on sale. She then tells her daughter to go there at that moment and tells her to pick anything she wants. The grandmother offers her son-in-law a cup of coffee. When he leaves the room the man again insults the grandmother. The grandmother puts a sleeping pill in the man's coffee. Then they both drink the coffee, and as he was drinking the man was getting sick and feeling sleepy, until he passed out. Sometime later the man wakes up all tied up and blindfolded. He desperately tries to escape from that situation. Then the grandmother takes off the blindfold and tells him to be quiet, that they will talk and that she will tell him a story, and then will tell what will happen if this story does not improve. The grandmother then begins to tell him that when she got pregnant she imagined that her whole life would change, and it did. She says she went 3 months without sleep, and when her daughter was 5 years old she was in the hospital for 2 years. She then asked the man if he really thought that after everything she had been through with her daughter she would allow a man like him to mistreat her and treat her like a dog. She then says that she not only saw him mistreating her but also filmed it, and in a threatening tone, the grandmother says that if he changes his voice again towards her daughter or assaults her, she will pull out her fingernails or toenails, or else rip his foot off at once. Again warning him, she asks him what his parents will think of this whole situation, of their little son doing what he did, mistreating and humiliating his own wife just because she had a child and is fat. She then asks him if he will learn to become a man or if he will leave her daughter alone. The crying man takes the cloth out of his mouth and says that he is sorry for what he did and apologizes to his mother-in-law, and says that from that moment on he will never do it again, and that he will treat his wife as she deserves. The grandmother goes towards him and starts to untie his parents. She then says that she sent the footage to all her police friends and that if he doesn't become a good husband and father she will have him arrested. The kneeling man says he will never do anything again and begs her not to send him to the police. While this is happening, the woman arrived from the store with her son and asks what happened. The husband gets up and asks how the son is and if his wife was okay. He then says he will stay with the child, for her to go to the salon and that she can rest a bit. He has learned his lesson and speaks lovingly to her,